We are excited to welcome the team from El Dorado County. Not only do they have an amazing list of jobs open right now in their counties, which I don't want to steal their thunder, but they use the site Government Jobs, which is very, very popular with a lot of cities and counties throughout California and beyond. They have some very important information for you. And with that, I will introduce both Rachel and Jenny. Thank you so much for being here today and being a part of our event.
Thank you for having us, Sarah. We really appreciate coming down and speaking with everybody and just getting ourselves out there. I'll let Jenny start off and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Jenny Thomas. I've been with the county for 2 years as a human resources technician, and I love every second of it. And we would love for you guys to come join us.
And again, as Sarah said, my name is Rachel Wallach. I'm also a human resources technician here at the County of El Dorado. We are, both of us have been here for about 2 years. We're on the recruitment and selection team. So if you are applying to a job, have questions about a job, you're going to talk to either one of us or one of our cohorts. So we've prepared a little presentation for you guys today. We're going to ask that if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Jenny is going to try to answer them as they come in the chat. We'll try to open up a live Q&A at the end if we have time. If not, I encourage you guys to go visit our booth tomorrow at the virtual job fair. We will be there. All of our job postings and all of our great information about our county will be on there. So yeah, definitely. We're here for you guys. Ask us all the questions and we'll try and get them answered as soon as possible. Let me just get you guys into our show. All right, guys. Again, I'm Rachel and Jenny is with me today from the County of El Dorado. Just a little bit of an overview of our county. Our vision is a safe, healthy, and vibrant communities respecting our natural resources and historical heritage. The mission of El Dorado County government shall provide efficient, courteous, effective services and infrastructure for safety, protection, and well-being of our residents, businesses, and visitors. The Department of Human Resources has a commitment. We're committed to promoting the power of public service by fostering a diverse and collaborative workplace where employees are empowered, respected, and valued. The dedicated efforts taken by the Board of Supervisors continue to promote El Dorado County as a competitive employer that is committed to recruiting and retaining qualified employees by advocating for competitive salaries and excellent benefits. The County of El Dorado is also supportive of providing telework opportunities for employees consistent with our business needs and in accordance with the Board of Supervisors policy E12 telecommuting. So a lot of us here at the county work a hybrid schedule. There's not very many full telework positions available. I know that that is a lot of interest that we see right now, but we do mostly work with a hybrid schedule. It is based from department to department, whether or not they utilize that. Some positions in the county, of course, if we're talking about in-person healthcare positions, those will not have the teleworking option. But a lot of our administrative positions have the hybrid schedule available to you. So that is a new and wonderful thing that has come to us. So El Dorado County is committed to working with each bargaining unit to continually review and negotiate each classification salary schedule in accordance with the labor agreement expiration. So we have a team in human resources dedicated solely to our labor agreements. They are our labor relations unit. They are working with our unions. We currently have 16 bargaining units in our county. You're placed in a bargaining unit based on your position and skill set. We have some of the ones that I can mention, our general bargaining unit. That's a lot of our entry-level admin positions. We have a professional bargaining unit. It's a non-supervisory administrative or professional unit. We have our trades and crafts, which is a lot of people that are out in the field. And we have some of the more law enforcement specific bargaining units. We have our probation, district attorney, and our sheriff's department, and they each have a couple of different bargaining units for the law enforcement community. And so our labor agreement, or our labor relations group, they meet with the unions and they meet with the departments, and they represent the needs of both and try to come to agreements on salary and different types of probationary periods and compensations, different types of special pays. And that's basically the gist of what they do. Now, at the county, we do have quite a few benefits. I know that a lot of people look for county, state, federal employment. It does tend to have the better benefits. So here at El Dorado County, we have competitive salaries, which again, part of the labor relations unit is, working with the unions to get us the best salaries possible, but also doing cost of living increases, the research that goes into that, to make sure that our employees are making a competitive wage compared to people in our community. Merit increases. We have merit increases. Each of our positions has 5 different steps in the salary schedule. If there is a position that has different levels, each level has 5 steps in the salary schedule. So we do have merit increases yearly. In a yearly review, you're able to get those merit increases. And then we have paid vacation, sick, and holiday leave. When you sign on for a full-time employee, the starting is generally around 2 weeks paid vacation. Holiday leave, we have 12 paid holidays. And then for some of the bargaining units, but not all, we have 2 floating holidays, that 16 hours worth of holiday leave that you can use where you want, basically as a PTO. And then our sick accruals, I think it's about 4.3 hours per paycheck. And we get paid bi-weekly accruals for sick leave. We have medical, dental, vision, life insurance. We are with CalPERS retirement. We have 457 plans that are managed by Nationwide Insurance. We have an employee assistance program. We work with a group to provide counseling or assistance, all sorts of different financial assistance for our employees. And then again, the telework policy. So we do offer some teleworking on hybrid schedules. So let's get into how to know when positions are open. So unlike what my previous speaker was talking about, we don't have open testing at the County of El Dorado. So we wait for an open recruitment to be able to apply for those positions. Well, how, you might ask, do you know when these positions come up? So we do on our website have a place that you can fill out a job interest card. The job interest card has keywords that we embed into the postings for positions. And so you would go ahead and select the different areas, the different keywords that you would be interested in. And each time one of those positions comes up and it has some of those keywords in it, you'll be emailed and you can go ahead and look at our job board and see exactly what has come up in the county. So that's a great way to kind of keep an eye on things that you're interested in, since we don't have the open testing.
And you don't miss any recruitments that way. So you'll be notified, so you won't miss anything.
Mm-hmm. We often have people ask us if they don't make a recruitment, when can I apply again? So it really is a matter of filling out these job interest cards and making sure that that you're advocating for yourself as well to get these emails and then to get on and apply. So this is just a recruitment overview from our perspective here at the county. Once we do have an open recruitment, and you put in your information on the job interest card, you received an email, you go to the job posting and you apply. What are your next steps? So first, we're going to go ahead and go through an application review. That is going to be all applications are reviewed within the time that the recruitment is open. We finish out, obviously, we'll have a few stragglers at the very end, but you should be receiving notifications after your application has been received. And then once it's been reviewed and to know if you have moved forward or if not. Then we go into a variety of examination process. So there's a couple different things, and I'll go over the different processes that as a county we go through. After that, you will be put onto an eligible list if you have passed whatever process it is that you go through. And then from there, you're referred out to the hiring departments. Then you'll go through a department interview. Once you have interviewed, if you are chosen, you will receive a conditional job offer. That conditional job offer will be an email, but it'll be your written contract with the county. And then from there, we'll do reference checks and background checks to include a medical clearance if needed. And then we do background, employment and education, and a live scan. So something that we really wanted to bring to your all attention, especially when we're talking about getting hired with the county or application tips. Some of the language that a lot of state, federal counties are adopting is this any combination language. So I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention and explain to you from our perspective what exactly that any combination language means. So here you see, this is our class specification for an HR analyst. So this is simply the part that the recruitment and selection team are looking at to see if you meet the qualifications. This is the education and experience section from the job posting for this position. So you'll see here that sentence that says any combination of the required experience, education, and training that would provide the essential knowledge, skills, and abilities is qualifying. So here we have equivalent to a bachelor's degree from an accredited four-year college or university with major coursework, human resources management, public or business administration, and industrial organizational psychology or closely related field, and 2 years of increasingly responsible experience. So what that NB combination language does is it tells us that you can utilize 4 years of admin experience or public administration, business, human resources management experience. 4 years of that can replace the bachelor's degree. So with that being said, if you had no education and you applied to this, you would need 4 years to make up for that bachelor's degree of a related field, and additionally 2 more years of increasingly responsible experience performing paraprofessional administrative duties. So a total of 6 years experience. And if you have some college, we're going off of college credits. So if you have 60 semester units or 90 quarter units, that is equivalent to 2 years in our eyes. So if you had a associate's or 60 semester or 90 quarter units, then you would need 2 additional years to equal that bachelor's and 2 years of experience. So then we got it down to 4 years of experience with your 2 years of degree. And so that works, we work with it on basically like a yearly basis. So if you got down to 30 semester units, you'd have 1 year of education. So we're trying to do that to open the job pool up to more people, recognizing experience as hugely valuable. and getting a different pool of people, definitely important. So that's something that you really want to pay attention to when you're looking to apply, because you might qualify for positions that you see that equivalent to a bachelor's degree, you might move it to the side, but you might still qualify if you see that any combination language. One of the things about our postings also that I'd like to bring attention to is each of our job postings has a contact number and email for the specific person that is running that recruitment. You can contact us and we get back to you usually within 24 hours about any kind of question. If you need help applying, if you need help understanding a class specification or its minimum qualifications, we are here to help. We really do want to help people to understand the process and also to get hired in El Dorado County. So here's some application tips that we like to give to people. So on your application, we have it highlighted in red because we see the application completely differently than a resume or a cover letter. You can attach these things on your application, but when we are reviewing an application, when we are determining whether you meet the qualifications, we are only looking at the information that you applied in the application. We're not looking at a resume. We're not looking at a cover letter. Those do absolutely nothing for the review portion of the process. So we're just looking at your work experience, your education experience, and that's it. Another thing that we run into, we have a lot of instructions, and I know that a lot of the county, state, federal, we have so much policy that there's a lot of wording in there, but we really encourage you to take the time to read and follow the instructions carefully. It would do you a world of good just to go through it a couple times, because there is so much in there that mentions these different rules, these different ways that you're going to get into the county. It's on our applications or our job postings, I'm sorry. It's on our supplemental questions, not to use a resume or cover letter or to refer to them. But quite often we get people who refer directly to a resume or a cover letter, and we can't utilize that to pass you through. So another thing, when you're including your work experience, we want you to include all applicable experience. And don't assume that your job title describes the duties you've performed, especially if you're coming from another county, you have a very similar job title. So you think, okay, I'm just going to put that in there. They're going to know what it is. We need that clarification, as much detail as you can possibly give, the better you are in bettering your chances to get on with the county. Supplemental questions. We utilize supplemental questions to kind of even farther from, do you meet the qualifications? Well, what are your skill sets? What of these job duties have you performed? So when you're answering those supplemental questions, it's very important that you tailor your answers to the job for which you're applying and answer the entire question. Don't answer the first part of it. Don't be vague. If you worked on a project, tell us what the project was. How much of a budget did you have? We really do encourage as much detail as possible. And then also proofread that application before submitting it. That is something I know that we are all guilty of, going too fast. But if you can take a moment to set aside that time to proofread your application, I guarantee you'll find one or two edits that you can make. And I think that's just, we can all do with a little bit more of that proofreading. So here's some of the going on application tips, some of the things that we've come across, Jenny and I, and you know, the rest of our team here in the recruitment and operations. When you are filling out an application, be very honest, but tailor your experience to the job that you're applying. Don't have one application that you put to a bunch of different job classes. Go look at the job class, see what it is that the job duties entail, and think about what it is that you've done in your past experience, your jobs, that you can put in there. Utilize our wording to help you explain what experience you have for this job. Take the time to read through those job duties and see what it is that you can relate to and put that into your experience. Another thing we see on a lot of applications is the vague answers. When we're looking at those applications and we're on the fence if somebody does or doesn't meet the qualifications, we go into those descriptions and we utilize that to see if you have done these job duties and if we can utilize that to qualify you for the position. So these are just a couple examples of what not to do. So one of them is, you're describing your job and you say, I open mail. Well, sure, you open the mail, but then you could include the second part of it that says, I date stamp, I distribute to appropriate staff. And you would be surprised how that little bit more detail might help you to qualify for a position that the first answer wouldn't have. Again, just reiterating on that, the next example, I assisted clients at the front counter. Well, that could mean a multitude of things, but if you get a little bit more specific and you assist clients at the front counter by answering phones, responding to emails, and providing permits, that gives us a whole different perspective on who you are as a candidate. So another thing that I run across quite often, and I even had to go and try to Google to figure out what exactly the acronyms that people are using mean. Please don't use acronyms on your applications. A lot of acronyms are organization specific. I know this one references AR and AP, which a lot of people do know as accounts receivable and accounts payable. But if you mention acronyms and the person reading it doesn't have a grasp on what those are, you're then discounting some of your experience, because we're not getting to see the full spectrum of what you're doing if we're not understanding exactly what's there. So some of the different assessments or examination options that we utilize at the county, we written exam. We have, again, I mentioned these before, but supplemental questions with a review of the training experience. We have a computer skills test, writing exercises, hands-on performance tests, and the classic hiring interview. So let me just talk about a couple of these. So in the written examinations, the county utilizes a remote testing that is administered by a third party for many of our classifications as part of the recruitment process. So these tests will be sent out to the candidates who have met the minimum qualifications only. The test link will be sent to the email that's provided on a predetermined day, and it's sent from a vendor. We use a company called IO Predict. The test link is good for 72 hours. So you have 72 hours to remotely take your exam. And then you're limited to a certain amount of time depending on the exam type. There are exams that are 90 minutes. We have 2 hours. I've seen a 2.5 hour, but that is your time to finish it. So that is just the written exam. So supplemental questions are in the application. Again, I went through those a little bit, but I'll touch on them a little bit more. So here is a supplemental sample supplemental question. Please describe your experience in developing a budget for a department or an organization and explain how this budget was tracked, measured, and inputted into a financial system. Describe where this experience was obtained and the length of time performing these duties. So this is a response that, is not completely clear. I've created budget proposals for my current department managers and reviewed position requests from departments I provide fiscal review for. I have over 11 years of experience working in this type of environment. It answers the question, but it goes into zero detail. On the other hand, this is a more in detailed answer. I have developed budgets for El Dorado County for 12 years. I currently manage the annual budget process for the Planning and Building Department, which includes current planning, long-range planning, code enforcement and housing, and community and economic development. I analyze the previous year's budget and interview staff regarding future needs. I prepare complex spreadsheets to determine the labor percentages for each LRP project. Each year, I make recommendations to the director regarding labor adjustments and amounts needed for consulting services contracts during the next fiscal year. Along with my staff, I monitor the department budget monthly and perform calculations necessary for budget transfers. So you can see in those two responses how much more detail they were able to receive. When we're using those supplemental questions, and we're doing a supplemental question review, the answers to the supplemental questions are given to members, subject matter experts in the department, and then reviewed. And it's without any other part of the application. So your name isn't on the application, everything is confidential. It's simply the answers to the supplemental questions, and then we score them. Now, all of these different types of examinations will be listed on the job recruitment posting. So it's going to tell you exactly what type of examination you're going to have in this recruitment.
I just want to add something too about the supplemental questions. I just want to let everyone know that there is no such thing as too much information. So you absolutely want to get into detail about to those questions, because the more the better.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that, Jenny. So we're talking about here, when we get into the more of the oral interviews, we have a couple different question types. So on our team, Jenny and I are human resources technicians, and then we have our human resources analysts. And all together, we help the departments to create these fair interview questions. And some of the question types we use are situational. That's about what would you do in a certain situation, or what is your perspective? Tell me about a time, right? The other types of questions we use are behavioral or technical questions, questions that are specific to past work behavior, and good for more complex positions that require more experience. We also encourage the departments to include technical questions that are specifically from the job duties. So again, we're talking about getting hired and being a good applicant. Well, when you do get to that interview, some of the ways that you can study for that type of an exam is to read again through the job description and see what it is that they're telling you the job duties as a whole. So what is it that you have that can relate back to those? And I guarantee you that will help you in your interview process as well. So here's a couple of just sample behavioral questions. Tell me about a time when you needed to get information from someone who wasn't very responsive. What did you do? So that's more of a behavioral, whereas a situational question would be, what would you do if you were working hard on a project and were almost finished when the goals or priorities were changed? So every interview, and I don't think I just speak for the county, I think that it's any interview, they try to grasp quite a few of these questions to have more of a dynamic idea of what type of person you are. And so our hiring interviews can either go to a structured interview, which is, again, those predetermined questions. The interview panel is 2 to 4 people. And then the panelists ask all the candidates the same question and are given the same set amount of time to answer, versus an unstructured, which is there's no set procedure. The interview panel may ask questions based on information in the candidate's application. Now, with the County of El Dorado, at least, we utilize the structured format for first interviews. So everybody that is interviewed is going to have the same fair chance to answer the same set of questions. So we always start with a structured interview. The unstructured interview would only be utilized if we were bringing somebody back for a second type of interview. And then we would give the department a little bit more freedom on what they're going to ask the candidate. So again, I talked about eligibility lists a little bit, but I didn't go into detail. An eligibility list is once you've met the MQs and then you've done the examination, you've passed the examination, you get put onto an eligibility list. Now, the eligibility lists usually last for at least 3 months, that's standard, but they do sometimes get extended. If there's a lot of candidates on the list, a lot of strong candidates, they'll be extended. All of the steps throughout the process, you're notified. When you get put on an eligibility list, you'll be notified. And then on the eligibility list, you're ranked on based on your scores to an examination if there was an examination. And so a lot of these eligibility lists also are for what we call county-wide classifications, county classifications that are in a lot of different departments. So you could be on an eligibility list for 3 months. And in that 3-month period, there might be 20 different interviews that you're invited to because these positions are throughout the county. So this information, again, will be at the job fair tomorrow, but we do like to include some of our links, and especially since this is going to be recorded, you can refer back to this. Some of the links we can share out today are county job postings, how to apply. We have a wonderful dedication to tips on applying on our website. Very great tips. All the things that I talked about today, but even more in detail. The job interest card link that I spoke about, that is so crucial to knowing exactly when these positions come open that you're interested in. And then our job descriptions. I think that if you are truly dedicated to becoming a public servant or specifically a County of El Dorado employee, looking at the job descriptions is such a great thing to do to understand exactly what you qualify for, what you could work towards, what kind of career path you could make out of a job with the county, to really educate yourself on the different class specifications. And you'll kind of start to see once you look at those how they're built. They're very in their the way that they're built and just their information that they give out. So those are our links. And again, if you wanted to hear any more about any of this stuff, we are going to be at the virtual job fair tomorrow. You can come visit our booth. Jenny and I will both be there, a couple of other of our coworkers. We could talk about actual job openings that are here within the county. And again, answer any questions. This is our QR code to our current employment opportunities. And again, something I mentioned, but we really do have a lot of pride within our department in our county, that we do put our names and numbers on each of our job postings, each of our recruitments, and we are honestly here to help. So this is our main line to human resources. And if you ever have any recruitment related questions, please do not hesitate to give us a call. We like chatting with people. We like encouraging and teaching and helping people to figure out what their in is.
I've also provided mine and Rachel's emails in the chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free.
So I'll go ahead and we'll stick around. I think we're pretty much out of the time, aren't we, Sarah?
No, you're good. I pushed it a little bit when you started, so I knew we were running 5 minutes behind. So you're not even that far behind. So don't be, don't worry too much about the clock. But we do have our next presenter here. We had a couple of questions come in. Perhaps you can answer those in the chat,
Absolutely.
and then encourage people to come, like you said, tomorrow and talk to their team. I hate that I cut you off on time, but
No, you're
I really
fine.
appreciate you. All this information is so helpful. And like I said before, there are some really great openings in El Dorado County from El Dorado Hills all the way up to South Lake Tahoe. So, there's keep an eye out for those. I know we share them in our e-blast weekly, so that's a great way to connect with their website too.